evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 20. DJI Woes with the United States continue. I'm Bill, the drone reviewer. I hope you guys are doing well. We're joined here by Johnny and Alfonso tonight. He's going to be joining us. Ron's visiting his dad up in Pennsylvania, so that's where he's at. Johnny, welcome. Thank you for stopping by today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah,
absolutely. And hopefully, maybe Mr. Marcus Crawford will join us here in a little bit too. And we got a whole boatload in the house already. I mean, you guys were like chomping at the bit at 7:30. USA Drone Flyer, Sergeant Rock, Gator Drone. Let's see who else we got. RJ Redding, DD Fellows, Dale's Ariel is here. See who else we got. Art is here. FJ 1100 Mark, welcome. Let's see who else. Giggles FPV. Gator Drone, Brad Olson, welcome, Brad. John Flynn, welcome, John. RJ Redding, welcome. Supergeo.ca, welcome. Okay, I think we got them all, Johnny. I think we covered all our bases.
Great crowd, man. I'll tell you,
we got a great crowd last night. And I hope you guys caught Johnny on Drone Nation last night. It was another great episode, and we're hoping to get Marcus on because I want to talk to him a little bit about his adventures with the soon to be sent back DJI Lito, and I'll let him elaborate if he joins us. If not, I'll kind of try to give you a Reader's Digest version of this. Johnny, it just seems like before we start getting into some stuff, it just seems like it's this rat on this treadmill. It just keeps going and going and going, and it's just like it's a not, I'll kind of try to give you a Reader's Digest version of this.
Bill, you lost audio.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, I'm sorry, guys. I was talking. You guys weren't hearing a word I was saying. Okay,
I was thinking it was my phone or something here, but no.
No, I switched you on. I hit mute mic accidentally. So, there's an article that came out today about Autel, and I wanted to talk about this first because I thought it was pretty important with everything that's transpiring here. Well, no. I'll tell you what. We're gonna back that up here. First thing I want to talk about is okay. We're talking about the Lito and everything. Well, sure enough, the Mini 5 Pro's on sale now. And apparently Mini 5 Pro Fly More combo is $1,099 on Amazon. I mean, that's like what? That's about $500 off, right, Johnny?
I don't know about the Mini 5. I don't think it was quite that high, but I think it was probably 13, 12.9.
13, you're probably right, yeah. So that's a good chunk of change to be saving on that. That really is.
Great drone. I mean, I got to say, you know what? If you're scared of a mini drone, I mean, a lot of people, some people don't like the minis. They think but I tell you what, it can cut through the wind pretty good. The camera's great. A lot of great features on that drone. So,
well, it was real interesting this weekend. I had the Neo 2 up, and I was one thing it really impressed me was how it handled in the wind. Okay, because the first couple of times I flew, there was it was calm, it was dead calm. There was the wind this weekend, Johnny, and I could see it moving around. It was holding position. The video I got was stellar from it. Didn't move an inch. The only thing though, it didn't. I had to land it manually because it wasn't going to hit the pad. But other than that, I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, and a lot of your drone, I know sometimes, when you first, maybe even you check your conditions when you're thinking about flying and maybe the wind, but man, those drones of today, of course, I know you got the Mavic 4, the Mavic Air 3S is great in the wind, even the Air 2S, man, it's got to be a definitely 25, 30 mile an hour wind for you, before it really even affects those drones.
Absolutely. Now, this drone that's on sale on Amazon, the Fly More combo and the Mini 5 Pro, that includes 3 standard intelligent flight batteries. It doesn't include the advanced flight battery on that. The charging hub, carry case, and a pile of propellers and accessories. List price is $15.99. Amazon has periodically pushed it to $1,099 over the last few months, but this is at or close to the all-time low right here. And of course, if you go up and you proceed up the scale here, if you want to get the upgraded battery, it's going to end up costing you more. And like Johnny said, I mean, it really is kind of a jack of all trades as far as a drone is concerned. It really does everything. It really does it well. And, you used to be able to say about the Mini, well, if it's windy, you probably can't take it up. Well, you can't say that with the Mini 5 Pro because it can handle some pretty decent wind. I know because I've had it up in it.
Yeah, and a lot of people have some extra batteries from maybe something else they had, a Mini 4 or Mini 3 Pro or something. So yeah, sometimes you already have some batteries,
Yeah, and that's a great point, Johnny, because if you they're compatible and they work with the Mini 5 Pro, I mean you're really set well. And you know what, Johnny? I mean, I got the Pro batteries with it, and I've never. I mean, I've flown for almost 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and I'm done everything that I wanted to do, and I probably still have about maybe 10 minutes left more on the battery, and I mean, I'm done, I just don't see a need. I mean, I have that it's great that I have that battery, but what I'm saying is, I think those 3 batteries are going to be enough for you with something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all, years ago, I guess it was one of our first things we all kind of, we want longer flights, which we have come to, that's out now. You got, some of the flight times, but I mean, after, I don't know, 18, 20, 25 minutes in the air, I don't care what you're flying, you're about ready for a little break,
Oh, yeah. I mean, you kind of get, your thumbs kind of get a little wonky after that. I mean, even if you're using cruise control, okay, which I think, I'm not a fan of using cruise control, but a lot of people do use that. Even if you're using that, I mean, still you're holding that controller and everything. And yeah, but by that time, I mean, you've gotten everything you want to get. You got all the shots you want to get, the video you want to get. So you probably end up on your way home. So
Logan, I was reading Logan Travis. Yeah, that's probably just I guess a dead cell in the battery. Maybe you can check the boat, check it on a like air data or something.
Yeah, I would check that battery out, Logan. I think you probably I think it ended up being a bad batch there as far as that's concerned. So
yeah,
and you
that's
may want to see
definitely don't want to happen. Yeah, land where
yeah. So other than that, RJ Redding, it really is. I mean, I have had. I mean, it's one of these drones. You can't say if you can say anything bad about it, you probably can't. And and I think that's the thing. Well, I think the thing is for me is,
Dale makes a great point there. Yeah, Dale, I would almost 1,000% agree. If you only want one mini drone, the Mini 5 Pro, and if you want a big drone, or full size, the Air 3S is probably the perfect drone. Although the Mavic 4, I've seen it up there in Rhode Island, and then of course at the meetup in Florida, man, those things are beasts, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with Dale 100% on that. Yeah, I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, the Air 3S does absolutely everything. I mean, the Mavic 4 Pro is like that. Kid that's gone to the candy store and you got $1 and everything's a penny, and you're gonna get it. And it does everything, and it does it well. I mean, there's nobody. I mean, I'm glad I got it.
They got some great prices on the Mavic 4 creator combo on eBay, and hey, they've actually come down. I mean, probably in a 2,800 plus. Of course, you got to pay tax, but probably 3,200 with that RC Pro 2. So that's I haven't never picked one up. I know. I'm definitely will try to pick one up here pretty soon.
Well, what I've been waiting for is that update for. I mean, I'm going to switch gears here just a little bit before we get to the next article, but for the Avata 360 to get on the RC Pro 2. I mean, that's kind of like everybody was saying, when's it going to get there? When's it going to get there? And it's still not there yet. It's kind of like, okay, we're ready anytime now, DJI. I mean, it would be wrong. I mean, that's just a personal preference for me. I mean, I love that controller, Johnny. Yeah. I absolutely love that controller.
I picked one up. I tell you what, it's a game changer. I mean, RC2 is great, but man, flying with the phone is like, oh my, unless I mean, there's some drones. Yeah, I had the V copter and have some other little things that I do that might not be. But man, flying with RC Pro 2 is just it is unbelievable.
And that's my only knock. I know Marcus has a Sky Rover, and I had it too, and I loved it. It was a great drone. But my only knock, and I think Marcus said it as well, is that you got to use the phone with the controller, and it's just like it's like we are all now very spoiled, Johnny. Okay,
oh, absolutely.
Picking up that controller and powering it on, and boom, you're ready to go. You don't have to do anything. Power on the drone, power on the controller, and you're good to go. And you had to put the cable in, get it seated right, make sure the phone's sitting on there right.
The phone is like, I mean, when you think about it, I know you throw it in airplane mode or whatever, and but man, you're always being distracted. Even from the screen on iPhones, they get faint and get dim, and you're fighting that. And I know sometimes if you don't put it in airplane, you're getting text messages and all of that. It's just I don't know. It's just a lot safer, and I think you pay a whole lot better attention with that RC type controller in your hand with the screen.
And you know what? And I got to say this. I think it was. I had the Sky Rover up, and I have a Samsung. I don't have Apple, and it overheated on me, and it shut down completely. And thank God, it has the Sky Rover. It's basically DJI Fly app. It got to the point where it was low battery, and it just did automatic return to home. I mean, there was no questions asked with that. So
Logan is asking, RC Pro 2, Bill, is that 2,000 nits? Am I wrong, or is that?
I think that's right. I think that's right. Yeah.
I think it's at a constant like 1,200. I think it's 2,000, but I mean, it's bright. I mean, I've never, and most of the time, look, you can grab a piece of shade, or you can almost grab you some shade almost everywhere you fly. Even now, only like when Joe and I go out to the lighthouse, there's no shade whatsoever. But that screen, you don't have any problem. Yeah, 2,000 nits, Dale said. That's what I thought. Yeah. 1,600 constant. That's what I was. Yeah, Tom. So it's bright. Thanks, I mean, I don't even know what an iPhone. I mean, I have no idea. But the iPhone is great until it goes dim.
Well, and I got to say this: I've never had like any of the RC Pro, the RC Pro 2, or the R2 ever shut down on me. Okay, ever. All right. I was flying a Phantom 4 Pro. I had my iPad Mini shut down on me because it was hot outside, and thank God it just automatic return to home kicked in, and it was fine. I had the same thing with the Sky Rover. My Samsung Galaxy shut down on me because it was too hot, and automatically did that. I've never had an issue with the DJI controller shutting down because it was too hot ever.
I will say,
I'm standing there in the sun.
Since this update of the last RC Pro 2 with my Air 3S, and I don't want to bash it, as I said last night, it seems like I'm getting a little video glitch or just for a second, and I'm not very far out. So I don't know. I want to try it. Maybe not right around here, a lot of Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But I know Danny Kennedy had the same problem. And Captain Joe was telling me today he was flying his 360, and he wasn't very far out, maybe 1,000 feet or so, and it kind of was giving them some signal problems. So I don't know with these updates. Is it something, man? Is DJI doing something? When we talk about that at the meetups, we never seen so many transmission interference or signal interference pop up on the screen.
I noticed that on my I noticed on the Mini 5 Pro where I live. All right, now and if you're familiar with my test flights that I do it all the time, I go up to where we have a 4-lane state highway up here. All right, and it's like what it's half a mile from where I'm at. Okay. And usually by then I could, if I wanted to, I could fly almost all the way down that road. All right. And I've done that before. Well, as soon as I pointed in that direction, now I make sure I'm standing there with my antennas pointed in the right direction. It had weak signal. Please turn your controller towards the drone message come up. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah. That's very new to me. Even I know, I mean, there's a spot I fly back here over the softball fields, and I know they got a cell phone tower back there, and I know right when I get to it, but it's before that now. So I don't know. It's very, and Joe and I, even though, I mean, if we were standing real close, I could understand, but man, sometimes we're, and you see signal interference, and at the meetup, man, it was so much signal interference that some people even quit flying. I'm talking about camera drones, just different ones out in Dolman Park that day. So
yeah. Yeah. Um, what we're going to do right now, I mean, this is kind of a recap of an article that came out last week, but I still wanted to go over it, and just to make sure people knew about this. That the FCC is backpedaling on these firmware updates till 2029. And most of the reason, I mean, and the article's posted out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. FCC's waiver does not remove DJI Artel from the covered list. It does not, it doesn't take anything away except under the rule revisions labeled in 2005. Equipment placed on the covered list become ineligible for certain permissive changes under the agency's equipment authorization system. In simple terms, manufacturers can no longer easily push software firmware updates to covered devices once these products landed on the list. Okay. Modern drones are deeply software dependent machines. Firmware updates do more than just sold new features. They fix security vulnerabilities, improve GPS handling, refine battery management systems, address radio interference issues, patch bugs affecting flight stability, and maintain compatibility with mobile operating systems and remote controllers. Okay. Now, the FCC, they decided to go ahead and backpedal on this because a lot of the routers are made over in China, and they were on this list too. And that would cause more of a security hassle and a headache than them actually, being on the, supposedly what DJI's being on the covered list for. So that's going to stay in effect until, and you can read the article at your leisure. That's going to stay in effect until January 1st, 2029. So we have a reprieve on that for at least 2 years. And of course, a lot can happen in 2 years' time, Johnny. I mean,
yeah, and it's kind of weird that, I mean, I understand that part with the routers and stuff, but here it is again that they drone the little Litos, and personally, it's not anything I want, but it's no different than the drone that I have sitting right here or the other one over here, and I mean, it doesn't do anything different, but the Lito, you can't get two little mini drones. It just the whole thing does not make sense.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. So it's good. I mean, it's some good news as far as that's concerned, and it kind of begs the question, and we're gonna talk about this here in a little bit. Kind of playing a little bit of a devil's advocate here. All right, so these items that are on the covered list, they're going to receive firmware updates. All right. But if they're receiving firmware updates, they're on the covered list. So how can you do that? I mean, that's like saying this and then that, and then they don't mesh. It doesn't mesh. So all right, we're gonna move on. And this is just I'm wanted to talk about this a little bit. No, let's see.
Hey, Bill, John Flynn makes a good point. None of this started till that anti-gravity drone came out. I just want to, signal was good, and so Dee and Garrett, and I don't know what you guys did to the airwaves there, Mr. Flynn. But they got to wish Dominic a happy birthday. Dominic from Australia, birthday today, so happy birthday.
Yeah, Dominic. Happy birthday, Dominic.
Well, birthday was yesterday, technically. So,
all right. One thing before we get into the bulk of things here for tonight is that Insta360 actually put out a new camera, and it's real interesting. It's very reminiscent, and it reminds me a lot of those Kodak Instamatic cameras from back in the 70s and 80s, Johnny. When you take a look at it, I mean, it's super small. Yeah. And it's real interesting. The biggest addition here is the retro viewfinder, which essentially gives it's called the Go 3S, the personality of a tiny vintage street camera. Instead of constantly staring at a screen, uses frame shots through any optical waist level viewfinder, similar to what a photographer used on older film cameras decades ago. Which this really sounds pretty interesting here. There's even a built-in selfie mirror for quick selfie portraits, adding another playful touch to the retro theme. Seeing if there's a price on this. I don't think I see one. No, it's probably too soon for that. So, but that's something to stay tuned for. And again, there's an article out there on from Drone DJ on that on Build a Drone Reviewer. I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, they're coming out with another camera, and it's really kind of funny, Johnny, because they seem to be like they didn't make the list. All right, Insta360. For some reason, they found favor with the United States government, and the anti-gravity drone isn't on the list. None of their cameras and products are on the list, but yet DJI's are.
You just hope that maybe I don't know. Is there a deal? Was this all like a big play, and we're in like one of the acts, and hope that we're going to get down the road and something's going to change? I don't know. It's the craziest thing. And somebody makes a good point. Yeah, Logan, right there. Do we? Logan, I would agree that none of us really need the Lito, but if it's going to take the place of some of the mini, if they do away with the Mini 2 or the Mini 3 and the Mini 4K, and eventually they'll run out of them if they quit producing them. But if you can't get that little drone, then I don't know. It's still very strange.
Yeah, and this is going to lead to our segment here. We're gonna be kind of doing a deep dive tonight with some stuff here. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, we all know that DJI is fighting the. I'm going to go ahead and bring this article up. We all know that DJI is fighting with the FCC. In fact, they're taking them to court over the whole blacklist issue. Well, Autel raised its hand today and said, wait a minute, we're kind of going to join that fight here. And there's an article on Drone DJ and Drone XL. I'm going to put one of those articles up right now to talk about it. Autel says Autel fights FCC drone ban, denies China data access claims. Autel Robotics claims that the FCC is unfairly treating its drones like DJI products, even though the company says regulators have never presented evidence that Autel itself posed a security threat. Okay. A newly filed response with the FCC, Autel Robotics is aggressively pushing back against efforts to keep its drones on the agency's so-called covered list, a designation that could effectively block future FCC equipment authorization and make it almost impossible for the company to sell new drones in the United States. Autel argues the FCC relied on secret evidence, broad assumptions about Chinese companies, and allegations tied to other firms like DJI rather than actual proof involving Autel itself. Whoa. I mean, this is pretty serious stuff, Johnny. They don't just, you just don't come out and say, saying that they're coming out and they're saying that. And what this article is, and I read through the article, and I encourage you guys to go out there and take a look at it. But, basically, the whole thrust of this is like, all right, Autel's got a leg to stand on this, because what the federal government has done was they put all their eggs in the DJI basket, so to speak. Yeah. All right. And then they lumped Autel in there with it, although they'd said, their secret evidence that they have is only against DJI. It's not against Autel. So why did Autel land on that list? I mean, and Autel has a great question there as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I see their point, but I guess, and Tom makes a good point, until, they want U.S. drones, but there's nobody willing to step up, especially in the consumer end. I mean, these guys that, if a U.S. company builds a drone tomorrow, you know what market they're going after. They're going after the enterprise and the government contracts. They had no reason to build like a Avata 360 or Mini 3 or the sales in that is peanuts compared to those contracts.
Oh yeah, I mean, and everybody knows. I mean, I think the signal was sent. What was it? Probably 2 years ago, maybe 3, when Parrot decided to stop selling consumer drones and focus all their efforts on enterprise drones, because that's where money is made. I mean, and
yeah, absolutely.
You talk to any of those analysts out there, Johnny, and they'll tell you that the real money to be made for them is on these enterprise drones. And I can tell you, after I knew the owner of a place about an hour south of here that sold drones, both consumer and commercial. And yeah, they told me that without a doubt, the margin on that is tremendous. I mean, they make absolutely a lot of money on those commercial drones. They a lot more than on the consumer drones. I mean,
it's just, can you imagine, they can build a drone for, I had no idea what, you're going to sell it to the government, that $1,500 drone can be $10,000 to the U.S. government,
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's, good point, Tom. Yeah. I mean, it's gotten to the point, it's gotten beyond the sublime and the ridiculous here. And, it's moved to just this whole other avenue right now that has just gone. I mean, used to hear that term theater of the absurd. And Johnny, I know you grew up in a time when the Twilight Zone came on for the first time. Okay. We're mesmerized watching things like that. And I mean, this whole thing plays out like a Twilight Zone episode. And you're ready for Rod Serling to step in and say, oops, this really isn't the case. This isn't really what, how he would step in near the end of the episode and say what was really going on, kind of a thing. And we're waiting for you, Rod. Come on in and tell us what's going on here, because none of this makes any sense to anybody, Johnny.
I'm just reading some comment. Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's all, I mean, I know everything, a long time ago, going back a few years now, we never really, and the remote ID was a big deal to us, although I think the most people in the chat, the way we fly, and I think we all follow the rules, it's really no big deal. But, then the next thing, well, they're not going to ban, but the thing that's happening with, it's kind of like the Avata 360 is starting to, I think they're starting to hold a few of them at custom, just like they did the Air 3S. And that's the strangest thing, like Marcus and I was talking today, man, just tell us the rules, guys. This drone is approved. So why should customs be stopping that damn box? I mean, you're not doing anything wrong.
Well, I know you were mentioning last night on Drone Nation that right now Evelyn can't get Avata 360s out, and she has a bunch stuck in customs right now, which is ridiculous because what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were going left and right. There wasn't any problems. And now all of a sudden they put the brakes on it, and it just, there's no rhyme or reason. Nothing makes sense. I mean, it really fits a Twilight Zone episode or Theater of the Absurd. I mean, it gets more ridiculous as time goes on. And I really feel for Evelyn. And I think, and you've pointed out so well, Johnny, and I think people need to realize this who want to do business with her. She's in business by herself. Okay. She's not a large corporation.
Right.
She does this. She maybe has a few people maybe help her out, but for the most part, it's just her. Okay. And she's doing this. Okay. And she's borrowing money to buy these drones, to sell them to us and trying to make a margin of profit. And I mean, it's slim pickings right now. Now she has this happens.
What's going to happen is, she's maybe not going to get the drones back. And then, you're going to file a PayPal claim and and then, I mean, she may not be able to sell drones, for a while. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I just got a couple. I just got an Avata 2 the other day from her with no problem. But if it gets held at customs, I understand it's not her fault. But so I don't know where we're at right now. We're kind of, it's almost exactly like the Air 3S scenario we had just a while back. You can order.
Yeah, you guys brought that up. Yeah, and that's so appropriate, Johnny, because I remember that. And I remember all that going on.
People got them immediately, and some people had to get them through other sources.
Yeah, and it was a real, well, for me, okay, and this was real interesting because the first one I got was defective, so I had to send it back. And my next one, it came through Canada, okay? Mm-hmm. I had gotten one, and it had Canadian paperwork inside of it, and they told me, they said, don't pay attention to it. I said, it's good for you to use. You can register it. There's no problem. But it had Canadian paperwork inside of it, and that just kind of blew me away. I'm like, what is going on here?
Any replacement at that time that they had replaced came from Canada, pretty much. So, but you got them, and the same thing with the Mini 5 Pro when it came out. Everybody, and we were all kind of a little leery of ordering from eBay, but I don't think anybody didn't get a drone that they ordered. And then nobody that I know of had any trouble. as far as from eBay. So.
Yeah, and it used to be, and we kind of ruminated a little bit when with Ron during one of the releases, how we remember how releases used to go, and we're saying the past tense kind of a thing, and we're all looking to see if Best Buy had it, or Adorama had it, or Amazon had it, and now it's just does Evelyn have it? Is it listed on eBay? Because those are going to be about the choices that you get right now with something like that. So,
going back to the Lito, I got to say, and of course I was never going to buy the Lito, but that morning, I think I'm sure you were in texting with Evelyn, and she was texting, and from day one that morning when because we did a little release thing, she said that they would not be available, or DJI told her that they would not be sold in the U.S. And she was right about that. So look at this.
Perfect timing. We're talking about the Lito, and you entered right on cue, Marcus. Your timing could not have been better. And Marcus, I really want you to relate, and I know you did last night, but I want you to relate your experience with the Lito. And I mean, there's a lot of valuable lessons I think people can learn from this. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, I really wanted that drone. I think it fits. It fits what I like to do real well, and I think there's a lot of people. It would have a lot of interest for a lot of people. A lower priced drone with a ton of features and the DJI quality that we're used to. So I ordered one from a company in South Korea. And, thinking that I could still be able to use it, we all saw that it had FAA approval. And then there was some question, did it get the final FAA approval and so forth? And even at that, I thought, as an individual, is anybody going to care if you fly the thing? It's the same transmission system as all of our other drones. It's not dangerous. It's not, like it's going to be anything different than a million other DJI drones that we're all flying right now. Anyway, well, when you start digging into it, it gets pretty scary. There's some pretty, listen, nobody, to my knowledge, nobody's ever been prosecuted for something like that or caught to attention. However, I have a YouTube channel, right? And there's a couple things that go along with that. Number one, I don't necessarily want to encourage anybody to do something that's not 100% above board. And number two, that it may get attention that it otherwise would not. And like I said, hope against hope. And when I got the thing, I opened it up and I thought, man, if it's got an FCC label in there, I'll be good and I can just fly it. I've looked that thing over stem to stern. There's no FCC label on it anywhere. And then if you look on the box, there is an FCC license for the RC2 controller. And I think this is where a lot of people got confused. The RC2 controller it's got an FCC license, but when you go up and you look at the drone itself, there's nothing there. So, we had a little conversation about it on Drone Nation last night, and I had already decided by then. And then I wrote DJI. I thought, you know what? I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. And they said, they came back and they said, there is in no way is that been approved or is it legal for sale or to fly in the United States. And they said, we encourage everybody to follow the rules and regulations of where it is you live. So I yesterday filed a return request on eBay. And of course, the company I bought it from, they're hemming and hawing, which I kind of don't blame them, really. I mean, you feel bad for them, but they shouldn't have been. It shouldn't be on eBay to begin with. It's illegal to sell in the United States.
Right.
eBay should be held responsible for that.
Oh yeah,
and it shouldn't be even on their platform. So I'm certain that I'm going to prevail, and I'll get my money back. But I'm just telling you, lesson learned. And I'm really sad. I'm sad about it, man. I'm just telling you, I really wanted that drone, and not just that drone, but this is what we're facing with every new thing that DJI comes out with in the future. We can't have it, folks. We can't have it. We can't use it. If it's a Pocket 4 or if it's a Lito drone or whatever new drone, when they come out with the Mini 6 or the DJI Mavic 5, whatever it is, sorry, we can't have it. And that's just how it is.
Yeah. And You may, Marcus, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that because I heard it last night and I said, I hope you're available to come on tonight. And Marcus was gracious enough to come on tonight. And we really appreciate that. And I want everybody to pay attention to what Marcus has said here, because, I think, Johnny, as a drone reviewer, myself, Ron, Marcus, and others, we have a responsibility out there. Okay. We want to give you the facts and let you make your own decisions. We can't make your decisions for you, but we can tell you what we know. Where none of us are lawyers, none of us are legal experts, but when you hear the information like as Marcus presented it, I mean, it really is a no-brainer to make the decision that Marcus made for that. Okay. And I think, Marcus is right on a couple of points. Number one, eBay is a U.S. company. All right. They should not be selling this drone in the United States, period. All right. They shouldn't allow these listings here. All right. And he's very right about that. Number two, that menu or the company over in South Korea, they should not sell it over to the United States as well, too.
I have some sympathy for the company in South Korea because they may not listen. It's hard for us to understand all the U.S. law, right? So, they may not fully understand. They may think, okay, it just can't get through customs or whatever, but it's not illegal to fly or whatever. So I have some sympathy for them. But again, I think it does fall back on eBay and the FCC, that Brendan Carr, I'm trying to remember what the initiative was, but what they called it, but the initiative was to stop U.S. retailers from selling items that do not have an FCC certificate.
Well, and you brought up a good point last night, and I wanted to kind of bring this up too about the Chinese handheld the Baofengs, okay, and a lot of people would purchase those. They're out on Amazon. You can buy them for like $25-$30. They're cheap. We call them in ham radio, we call them disposable HTs. Okay, it's really is what they are. All right. Now, using a lot of them. Okay. What Marcus is right. A lot of them are illegal to use, number one, but the reason they're illegal to use, and this is something I think that kind of separates this from the drone issue. All right. They put out, remember, I'm going to say maybe about 5 years ago or so, they were telling people, oh, when you put your cell phone up to your face, you're getting radio waves to your brain and all that kind of stuff, which is true. All right. Well, what happens with these phones is what's called spurious emissions. Okay. And you can get, there's a thing called a tiny SA analyzer. Okay. And what you can do is you plug your radio, your Baofeng radio or your HT in there, and you can measure that. And it's based upon, you can take a look at the waves that come out of it. And if it goes under a certain point, all right, it has that spurious emissions, which in other words, it's putting out more radiation than what the federal government says is allowable. So, that's why that's happened.
And Bill, that's what I was kind of hanging my hat on, is the fact that, okay, yeah, this isn't like a Baofeng radio. It's the same as any other DJI drone, OcuSync 4. So really there's, in my little pea brain, I didn't see any harm in it. However, it's still not legal for sale or use in the United States. So yeah, don't do it, I guess, is what I'll tell you. Save yourself some trouble.
And, and lesson learned, and Marcus was great with that last night. He's great with that again tonight. And I want everybody to listen to him. Okay. And I also want to tell you this. Okay. Be very careful what you hear out on YouTube regarding this. Okay. All right. I'm just going to say that because some may say one thing, some may say another thing about this. All right. But Marcus said it like it was because he looked on the label. There's no FCC approval on that. And that's like, you know what? That's like this. Okay. You don't even begin to want to touch something like that.
Well,
I can guarantee you.
DJI said, no, it's not legal. DJI told me in words of one syllable, it is not legal.
And I got the same, Marcus, I got the same email from them. Okay. The same, I mean, their verbiage was almost exact. It's probably boilerplate, but still, what they're saying is, you need to follow your rules and regulations in the country that you live in. All right. And following those rules and regulations tell you it's not legal here. In the
Yeah, so
United
throw that list away that had the approved drones on it. You know, it had the Lito and the Mavic.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. So you know, it could have the Mavic 10 on there. It might as well have the Mavic 10. So
yeah. Well, you know, and we were talking too, and this is real interesting, Marcus, and I want to kind of get your take on that. It wasn't more than a couple of weeks ago. Vata 360s were being sold. You know, Evelyn was advertising them, no problem, no problem. And then I heard last night, Johnny was, and you guys were saying, you know, Evelyn has them backed up in customs now, and she may not get them back. Like all of a sudden now that was stopped. You know, this is something, it's, before you came on, I talked about, and you probably may have heard this term before, the theater of the absurd or Twilight Zone, or, you know, and I was saying a little earlier, I'm waiting for Rod Serling to come in and to tell us really what's going on here, like he always did near the end of an episode for the Twilight Zone, okay? Because this is really what all of this is. It's just, none of it makes any sense. It's just unbelievable stuff. I mean, you know, okay, we're told this is on the covered list. Okay, so this is on the approved. So it's approved, so we're good to go. Well, no, not necessarily now. You know, it's like, oh.
Yeah, plus the Uyghur Protection Act, like we were discussing, that DJI can't even get them in the door. And it would be different. I could look at this completely differently if we were doing this to protect a domestic drone industry. But we're not. There is no domestic consumer drone industry. If they're trying to protect a commercial industry, a military industry, or even like these ag sprayers and things like that, okay, maybe tariff those products or whatever so that our companies can get up to speed. But because there's no competitor in the consumer space, this keeping these high quality drones away from us by DJI is just absurd. It's ridiculous, and it makes no sense.
And I mean, you know, here's what incredible illegal activities Marcus would do with this. He'd take it down in the Snake River Canyon. He'd show you what kind of video footage it would have. I mean, you know, we all know Marcus and his tactics here. I mean, seriously. I mean, it gets so ridiculous. I mean, you know, Marcus's videos, mine, Johnny's, Ron's, you know, Ray's, everybody, you know, we put videos out there to educate everybody. All right. To show people what happens in certain situations, you know, what we recommend for something, you know, all of this kind of good stuff. Right. You know, that's what we do. And, you know, I look at it like, you know, a lot of us more are educational and providing information to everybody out there, to, you know, people who watch us, to let them know, you know, this is what we experience with that. So either be careful or go ahead and do it. You know, it'll make it easier for you. Now, I mean, we're being kind of like cut at the throat with this. I mean, it's just really is what it is.
Hey, I want to. I see Cousin Dre, Recovery Drone, put up a comment there. So Dre, Evelyn is in China. She is shipping from Shenzhen, not South Korea. To my knowledge, Dre, anything that anybody's ordered from Korea is still coming in. Now, if they haven't been able to, I don't know what it is, but
and it's legal. It's legal. So
and what I've looked on the paperwork is, it says on the paperwork it's a DJI drone. So yeah. And John Flynn, that's a fantastic point. That is exactly.
That really is, John. That really is. Well, you know, and I gotta say this too. And so I was talking to Valerie a little bit about this, you know, and we all know about the big meeting, you know, that Trump went over to China and had all those business leaders come over there with him and everything. And, you know, we hear that all of them probably got parting gifts, but they all had to drop them off in a bag because they couldn't even take a piece of paper home with them from that. Okay?
Nothing.
And we all understand all that. Okay. Yeah. You know, but somebody I heard today, and this was part of the theater of the absurd. They said, you know, what we're witnessing is like part of a Shakespearean play. And what's going to happen in the next act is going to be something like, oh, well, now, and we heard from Lauren about DJI. Oh, well, they've come to an agreement and blah, blah, blah. And DJI will build a factory over here and sell them in the United States and employ Americans and blah, blah, blah. And then, that way Americans get employed and we make the money here and all that kind of good stuff. And, that they've shaken hands over this a long time ago. And this is all a big act that's being put on for us. I heard this today.
Well, DJI is in a tough spot because, as you know, China even shut them down. And not just, I know there's a lot of press about what happened in Beijing itself, and I heard it was the same in Shanghai. I'm not 100% positive. But the regulations throughout China have made it very difficult for individuals to fly drones. So DJI, think about that. Two of their biggest markets, their two biggest markets, the United States and China, are off the table for them. So I wonder how that's going to play out.
Yeah, something's going to happen. I mean, there is so much money on the table. I mean, we don't know because DJI is a private company. We don't know what their earnings are, but I mean, you take a look at their headquarters that they built, all right, over there in Shenzhen, all right, that thing, I mean, it's massive, and it had to cost, I mean, gobs and gobs and gobs of money to do something like that, okay?
Yeah.
And China is going to want to protect its interests. Now, everything I heard, and I'm not saying this for political things, they said there were a lot of good discussions that went on between Trump and Xi, which is good. I mean, you always want to be friends with China, okay? You don't want to get on their wrong side, all right? So some good stuff will probably happen out of this. So who knows? I mean, I heard this today, and I'm like, okay, more like theater of the absurd kind of stuff. It just, none of this plays out. None of this makes any sense. I mean, if you'd have told me this 5 years ago, okay, if somebody had come on Rotor Talk and said, what's going to happen? It's going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And then all of a sudden, DJI is going to come to the United States. I'd have gone like this, okay? Because what are you saying? What are you saying? I mean, seriously? And as you've said here, all right, I think the only thing that I've done, and Sally French, the drone girl, got me cued into this, was to look at the number of registrations of DJI drones and take a look and see where they're being registered, okay? And by those numbers, and you can kind of get a guess as to what would sell the best here in the United States, okay? And, the numbers bear out. It's usually the mini drones are usually at the top of that list. But Marcus brought up a great point because the two biggest markets for DJI are China and the United States, all right? And I know the UK, I know Canada is big and everything, but we're talking in terms of volume of sales, all right? China and the United States are right there as far as that's concerned. And, that's a lot of money coming in the pipeline for China or for DJI. And, it's being shut off. They got to look for new sources. They got to be innovative. So who knows? I mean, we don't know what's going to go on, really.
Yeah, it's weird how they focused on DJI and again, not just their drones, obviously their cameras and other things.
That's you can't get a camera.
Yeah, and so we know they've restricted routers, but what about all the other? I mean, 99% of these phones are coming out of China. I mean, it's weird why they focused on these certain aspects.
Hey, Bill, to answer Dre's question, he asked something about the metal plates. Yeah, every recent package has some kind of little metal. It looked like spacers. Now, does it have something to do with the weight? Is it protecting the package? But they've all been getting through. Nothing. I mean, can't really figure it out. I think somebody asked her, and she just said something like, "Hey, it's like my little secret or something." So I don't know. It seemed like that would throw more of a red flag, but that's what. So
Koopy makes another good point there about his son, Trump's son, being a major stakeholder of Unusual Machines. Yeah. It's just
there's just so much to this. I mean, it's like the old saying, too many cooks spoil the soup. And I mean, it's like everybody has their hands in on this, and everybody is like, and you hear one thing from the Defense Department, you see officials walking around with DJI mics on there. I mean, Vic Moss has posted pictures like crazy about that. And, you know, it's like, oh, okay, so I can get some masking tape out and put it over my Mavic 4 Pro and I'll be okay, right? I mean, you know, it's like I said, it goes from the sublime to the ridiculous to just, you know, we don't have a clue as what's going on. I mean, the Pocket 4 Pro got debuted at the Cannes Film Festival, but when it came out, and I read this today in an article that I have posted out there, said the specs weren't there, and it didn't say whether or not it was going to be sold in the United States. All right, I mean, so you know, it was really like, oh, okay, here it is. Take a look at it, but we're not.
Yeah,
gonna
it's not going to. I mean, if the Pocket 4 didn't get, the Pocket 4 Pro isn't either. I mean, yeah, it's just a mess.
Yeah, it is. It's just a complete total mess.
You know, they talk about the stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
The stage that I'm at now is sadness. You know, I'm just sad because I just think about, you know, part of the excitement of this hobby for me has always been looking towards the future and what is that next really cool thing that DJI is going to throw out there. And everybody talks about how DJI drones have plateaued or whatever, but I don't know. Almost every time they come out with a new product, it has some kind of feature on there that we're all just gobsmacked about.
Yeah. And you know, and this is something for me that, you know, the fun of all this. And I'll tell you what, and I just want to relate to you again, you know, and this is kudos to Ray and to Johnny and to everybody with the South Florida Drone Meetup. Okay. One of the greatest weekends ever, I mean, is spending time with everybody, okay? And having everybody get together like that. You know, it's just like, and, you know, as much as you guys, you know, we do fly drones, but that the meetup, the day itself, Saturday, it's for going around. It's for talking to people. It's for sharing. It's just seeing everybody, how everybody's doing. You know, there's a camaraderie there. There's a kinship. I mean, I mean, you know, when I went to the hotel and I saw everybody was playing that game around the table up there.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Just, I mean,
Sarah's game. Yeah, Sarah's game.
Thanks to Sarah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I heard about that. Ron was telling me about that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like it's so nice to see that. Okay, and where do you have that these days? We come from all walks of life. We come from all parts of the country. Okay, yeah, we're all there. We're talking Avata 360. We're talking Mavic 4 Pro. We're talking Mini 5 Pro. I mean, you know, it's our language, and we love it, and we have a great time, and we have a whole lot of fun with this. And you know. And I think, and I'm trying to remember his name. I think, Mark, I think you know his name. The guy that works with the PTSD veterans. He sat next to us.
Danny Kennedy.
Yeah. You know, what an incredible thing that he does. Okay. Yeah. And working with these guys. And
Gary Barrett's friend does the kids with the Neos. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just in with the kids too, like that too. I mean, it really is like Bill Thomas hit the nail on the head. It's drone therapy. It really is therapy. It really helps people a lot. It gets your mind off of other things. I mean, and I told him, and Valerie says, you know what? She said, you don't need, I knew you were going out flying, but I know when I take a look at you after you've come in from flying, you have a smile on your face. Okay. Almost literally, because you went out to fly. And I said, you're right. You more than often than not, I do, unless it's like hot as heck, like it was this past weekend when I went out to fly. But still, you know, there's a joy from that. There's something that we feel inside from this that, I mean, I get it from ham radio too, but not like this. I mean, this is a little bit different. Okay. This is, you know, this kinship, this friendship, it's not going anywhere. All right.
Let me ask you both something. A couple years ago, we knew that there was a couple dates, and I wanted September 16th, remote ID. I know that day because somebody was born on that day. But anyway, somebody in the chat. But no, that date, remote ID. Then, of course, we know December 23rd, you know, with what happened there. And now through the chatter of Facebook and Twitter and X and all that crap, you see some comments that, oh, by the end of this year, all this is going to be over. So what does that mean? I mean, is that just people hoping, or, I mean, what is this? Like Bill said, is it a play? You know, are we down the road in Act 11, you know, coming up in December? I mean, and that's just stuff that you hear and read. And I know you see all kind of stuff, you know.
I can't even guess anymore. You know, Listen, Johnny, and I know you were the same way because we used to talk.
Yeah.
3 years ago, we were hearing people talking doom and gloom about DJI, and we'd say, "Oh, no way! There's no way that can happen. They're
Absolutely.
too popular. They sell too many drones. You know, they're a very conscious company. In other words, that you remember at that time they had geofencing and
geofencing and doing everything right.
Yeah, but, you know, they'd never ban DJI. No way. I was wrong.
Yeah, no, we've been wrong.
Yeah,
we've been wrong.
Yeah,
we talked about that this morning. Marcus on the phone. We've been wrong quite a few times here.
Quite a few times.
But hey, we definitely, like you say, we admit it, and you know, we're not going to ever tell anybody to do something wrong. I can tell you that right now.
You know, and I want to repeat this here, guys. Okay, you know, and I know, and I remember the person that first said this was years ago. I was probably 2 years into doing the drone review thing, and it was Dobo. He said, fly what you have, enjoy what you have. And you know what? I mean, that's kind of stuck with me, and that's resonated with me all these years. Is, you know what? You know, I feel great when I go out and I fly. All right, and it's just, and it's going to be there, and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, you know, I put myself in a position where I bought extra batteries. I've got a couple of backup drones that I've actually bought as well too. I got a backup Neo 2. I got a backup Mini 5 Pro. And you know, I'm good to go as far as that's concerned. And I made sure I got a ton of props. I got plenty of batteries. I keep them on charge. So I'm going to be flying for a long time. And I suggest if you guys have the funds to be able to get like extra batteries and props, do it if you can, and try to. And I encourage you to get them off of Evelyn if she's still able to get stuff out, because you know she needs the support, and you know that's something I would highly recommend doing. But I mean, it's like one of these things. You know, I don't know where I would be in my life without flying drones. Okay, I really don't, and I think I'm a lot better for it. I know Marcus would say the same. I know Johnny would say the same. I know Ron, Ray, everybody out there, Bill Thomas, everybody.
Hey, put Goofy's comment up, Bill. He's made another really good point. That was true. I remember that too. Yeah,
absolutely. And we, you know,
and it could have been me too, you know, because
we laughed at them and picked on them, and I mean, I'm not, you know, saying anything bad, but yeah, that I'm like Marcus. Oh, that'll never happen. We even thought remote ID would never happen. I mean, let's face it. You know? So.
Yeah, and John's right. I mean, yeah, and I think the message I think we all want to pass on, and probably I can say this, and you know, not maybe universally here. You know, again, you know, I'm going to echo what Dobo said so many years ago. Fly what you have, enjoy what you have. You know, get things to be able to help to fly for years, like batteries and props. I mean, those are the big things. Scope out some local people who do repairs if you can. You know, because I know we have a place here in Tampa that will repair DJI drones. You know, in major towns, I'm sure there's going to be places that will do that. So scope those places out and fly without fear. Have fun, enjoy it. I mean, the videos that you get from some of this stuff. You know, Valerie looks up there every time. She says, like, you know, she's seen me fly this route like 100 times. She says, "Wow." I mean, she still looks at stuff and says, "Wow, how great that is." And that's one thing I encourage you guys, do that. Okay. Don't be dismayed by all this talk. Okay. And really, I mean, you know, it's actually more than talk. We did see the worst cases happen. Okay. You know, it's like being told, well, you know, you don't have a job anymore, you know, and you don't have a job. And what do? You pick up yourself, you dust your resume off, and you get out there and you fly in another job. Well, it's kind of the same thing here a little bit. Although, you know, the thing is, just pick up that drone, pick up the battery charger, charge the batteries. Next morning, you're good to go, and get out and fly and enjoy it. I mean,
I'm going to pick on one thing you said, Bill. You said fly without fear. I have to tell you, I do not take the chances with my DJI drones that I used to. I don't do it.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Because you know, we used to be able to just, hey, you knew if there was a problem, even if you had to pay for it. You could, in a week, you'd have a new drone sitting at your front door. And that isn't happening anymore. So yeah, I don't like my Mavic 4 Pro. Yeah, it's not going to be. It's well above the trees. I know it has amazing obstacle avoidance. I know this. I'm not going to take chances with it.
Well,
Yeah,
and I'm going to echo your comment, and I agree with you 100% because I took my Neo 2 out for a flight, and what I wanted to do was, I mean, I was like 3 or 4 feet off the ground, okay, and I rarely do that, but I had it in cine mode, and I was going what 3, 4 mile, 5 miles an hour at the most. So I saw things coming up, and I slowed down, and I was like super cautious around stuff because I wanted to get a bird's eye perspective of our yard and just kind of show people how low it can fly and how you can navigate stuff. But yeah, I agree. I'm not going to take those chances like with the Air 3S or the Mavic 4 Pro, Mini 5 Pro, any of the drones that I have, like I used to. Okay. I used to fly a little, I don't want to say reckless, but, I kind of threw a little caution to the wind at times, but not anymore.
I
I'm
wonder
out
why
there.
Marcus wouldn't let me fly that Mavic 4 at the meetup. God.
I'd let you fly it, Johnny. I'd let you. But I'll just have to kind of give you an example. As often in the past, when I knew I could get a drone taken care of, I'd do when I had an e-bike. Have a drone chase me like the Mavic 4, just to test its obstacle avoidance, right? Just to try it out. Hey, what is this drone capable of? Man, I look at some of those videos now and I cringe because I just wouldn't do that today. Well, just simply because if it did make one wrong move and hit the ground, you're just out of luck. And, that's a freaking $3,600 or $3,700 drone.
Yeah, and they'll tell you now. I think a couple of people's crashed some drones recently and wrote to DJI, and they'll gladly fix them, but they may not even have the parts. And
that's what they say.
Between 90 and 6 months,
Yeah, Koopy talking the same thing with FPV. So the O4 air unit, right? You don't want to damage one because, yeah.
No.
So any parting thoughts from you guys before we wrap things up here?
Okay. It's tough. I want to try and be as positive as I can because just like Bill said earlier, we've all got a bunch of drones. I got a ton of drones. I'm not going to stop flying anytime soon, unless they make that illegal. However, it is. You just can't help but be a little bit sad about the fact that we are just not going to get any new technology in this country. It's just not going to happen. But do your best. Get out there and fly. It's still fun to fly, so I'm going to continue to do that.
Yeah, same thing, Bill. I mean, we all you can do is fly what you have and enjoy it. We got some great drones, and that I know. Lauren always says that small increments of technology, but like Morgan said, man, every time they came out with a drone, and they still gonna come out with them, but something that we don't think of, something very simple is in that new drone. But we just have to look from afar right now and just hope that it changes.
It's very well stated here. And well, our good friend Joni Oki says, pray for American drone pilots. Yeah. And he's right. I mean, but my thing is I'll echo exactly what Johnny and Marcus said. And I'll just, say, get your batteries charged, make sure your props are okay, and get up there and enjoy flying. And I think probably now more than ever, with what we said about throwing caution to the wind and everything, I'm going to kind of retract that a bit here, backpedal on that a little bit, and just, and be careful when you're flying now. I mean, hopefully it will help you. And I think, if anything, it's going to help you when you get up there and do fly, that you're going to be wary and cognizant of your surroundings a little more, your speed a little more, what's going on around you, having an ear for things, everything, being aware of things, that nothing will come out and surprise you, and that you'll be ready and you'll be prepared for it. Because like they said, $3,600 hitting the ground, boom, ouch. That's a tough pill to swallow. And yeah, you may have it insured, but trying to go out and get another one, well, good luck on eBay.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Well, the thing about you can't get it. You can't get it repaired. Having insurance is great, but if you can't get it repaired, that's a whole nother ball game. So,
yep.
Okay.
Wow, Johnny Oki, thank you for posting that. Wow. So I'm gonna be up the little Schlitz Creek if that happens, because that's who I have everything through. So, but anyway, I want to thank you guys for just a great conversation here tonight. And just great, comments. Koopy, I know you posted several out there. Thank you for your insight, and everybody else, Joni Oki, John Flynn, everybody who's contributed tonight, Dales, everybody. You guys did a great job, and I want to thank Marcus and Johnny for filling in for Ron tonight. You guys did fantastic as always. You never skip a beat. It was great. Really appreciate your insight and everything with the Lito, Marcus. And I think that probably is going to help a lot of people out to make a right decision to what to do regarding that. And really, I mean, it's really kind of a no-brainer after listening to what Marcus said tonight. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, guys, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.